get these two fired up. I gotta get this thing fired up, and then I gotta go up there and fire up the excavator and get it ready to go, because I'm gonna be using it a lot this morning. And we're gonna go after this brush pile and get the road cut down through here. So yeah, we can't get it shoved up in there with the cat. of the things you'll notice, and I'm going to give you guys a little piece of advice, whether you want it or not. When I'm running a smaller dozer like that, and I'm attacking brush, especially without a brush rake, you always see me pick my blade way up right about the time I'm getting ready to engage with the pile. The reason why I do that is I pick my blade up to a certain height. That blade, for the most part, is going to protect that radiator. Especially if you don't have a big rake or something to grab onto all that. You want to bring your blade up to protect that radiator. If you have your blade down, something can come right over the top and go right through your radiator fins. Now you can see from this thing being all bent up, the radiator guard there, it's taken a few hits in that department. So this right here is not good dirt. This is not the dirt I want. And that guy down there, he actually owns all this, and he was telling me that he didn't think that I was gonna get very much dirt out of here. He said there's a lot of topsoil right here. This is where they've spent many years stacking up brush, logging slash piles and stuff like that, and it's all decomposed down. Okay, so I got that up there pretty well stripped. What I got to do now is, before I go getting too far, I got to make a decision here on what we're going to do. The landowner came up here, and one of the things I've always learned, listen to the landowners. They've been around the place long enough, they'll tell you what's what. I got to get fill for down there. I got to get a little bit more fill for right there. I'm going to bring the excavator up here. I'm going to dig a couple of test holes and see just how deep I got to go to get to that good dirt. If I got to strip off 2-3 feet of topsoil before I get to it, it's not going to be worth it. Okay, so I went up here to where it'd be the best spot. It's the highest spot in this hump. And I pulled out a couple of buckets of dirt. Yeah, and that's down in there up to that length right there on the thumb. So that's every bit of about 4 or 5 feet. And this is what we get out of it. That's topsoil with some rock in it. That's not, that's not going to be a good road building dirt. So that changes my plan here a lot. That's if I have to strip down that much dirt to get into good working dirt, it's not time conducive. So I stripped this up here really for nothing, but before I went too terribly much farther, I wanted to check this out. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get the road bed cut out. I'm gonna grub that off with the excavator and start getting the road bed grubbed out and see what we got going through there. I got to get this all opened up to figure out what we got for material underneath. Hopefully it's not that deep down there, but I have a suspicion it is. He was right with how this right here was all growing. This right here is really good dirt. So all the dirt that I want's up there. And with the size equipment that we got, there ain't no way you're gonna get good dirt down here. But that sucks. So I've been sitting up here in the truck thinking this over and eating my sandwich. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get on the dozer. And I wish I had more of this dirt right here, but we don't, unless I open up the field here, and that's a possibility tomorrow. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna jump on the dozer. I'm gonna get all that crap I dug out with the excavator shoved up the hill a bit and kind of laid up over in here. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna analyze what I got for dirt there. And we're taking right down, where are we at? There's the center line where I'm going. So we're heading right down through there. Right through here. virgin ground, I think it'll be okay. But I definitely would not try to use this stuff as fill, that's for sure. I think a good rain gully washer would take it right away. It's a topsoil, not a structural soil. So I'm gonna jump back on the dozer here and get the road bed finished, cleaned up. I'm gonna try to shove that stuff up just a little bit there, and then I'm gonna try to slope this back. I do think I'm gonna need to cut some more off where my pickup's at. I was anticipating being able to take a good chunk of this and work it up in there and bring this all down on a nice angle here, but I'm measuring this here out as best as I can. I'm trying to do this one-handed now, but I'm cutting it really tight for how wide of a gravel path I want to have. I want to have about a 10-foot wide gravel path of that 3-inch. That puts me dang near up against that bank. So the quickest and easiest way of getting that bank out of the way is just to get up there with the excavator and start down there and just start pulling it up and putting it out in a line. And I know there's a lot of guys were saying, well, where's your stakes? Where's your flags? Where's all that? I don't have time to be running around knocking stakes in the ground and putting up flags and all that other kind of crap. I'm just kind of doing this by my imagination and my eyeball. So I gotta get up there. The excavator is gonna cut that back quicker than the dozer. Will he make it? Give her hell, dog! Hope he's got four-wheel drive. Hope there's nothing breakable in that. I know I saw hubs. You know, I would have put it in four-wheel by now. I'm going to tell you what I did here and explain it as best I can. So one thing I was always told about drainage is that water's okay, But one of the biggest things you want to make sure you do is you want to make sure that you don't let that water pick up a lot of speed, because that's where it starts to do its damage. So what some guys would say is put in a ditch right here. And yeah, in some situations that'd be something you could do, but in this case what's going to happen is the water is going to come down the hill. It's going to come down and it's going to come down, where if it comes down and it hits this ditch, you know, it's going to have to make a hard 90 that way. And then what happens is, well, you know, speed, inertia, and all that crap. So what I usually try to do in a situation such as this, where the natural flow of the ground keeps heading down that way towards the river, is when I went across there, I made that pretty well flat. And if anything, it's angled down just a little bit in. So what the water will do is it'll come in and it'll come across that, and it'll lose a good chunk of its speed. And as it loses a good chunk of its speed, it's going to make a turn and it's going to head down that way. And up over here, it's going to make a turn and it's going to head back this way. Yeah, that's going to kind of suck for when we build up the fill right there. But the thing of it is, this ground perks so dang well that that water's just going to go away. And if they do have a problem with the water building up there, then next year we can always come in and put in a culvert. It's not in their budget this year. So originally, what I had told the customer we should do is, and this is before we found out we couldn't take out these elderberries. I originally said what we need to do is we need to just come down through here, pull all this brush back, stack it up, burn it, and we need to cut a ditch in right in here. Down there where the corner is, put in a pipe. Water goes out that way, water gets caught this way. But the gentleman that owns all this property, he was telling me what happens is that the water, there was never really any visible water on the ground up in this area. He said it always kind of popped up out of the ground right in here. It'd pop up and then it'd take off. So what they had is the way that the driveway was before is that it would come around that corner, and the driveway was in a sense the lowest spot. So the driveway would catch the water and run it as a ditch all the way down through here, because the shoulder is high enough to hold the water inside the driveway. So what we're gonna have to do now, and we're gonna have to do it with gravel. We're not gonna be able to do it with fill dirt like we originally anticipated, because yes, this stuff packs in, but the problem with this crap is that when it gets wet, it moves. That's why I cut this back as far away from where I want to put the road as possible, because this hillside is going to try and move at some point in time. And that's one of the reasons I put as lenient of a slope on it as I could, because if I would have left it like a 1-to-1, a 1.5-to-1, even a 2-to-1, what would happen is when this sucker gets saturated in a good torrential downpour or snow melt, that frickin' thing's just gonna slough right off into where the road's at. I mean, if I had a bottle of water with me, I'd pour it on this stuff to show you. This is the kind of like playground sand stuff that when water hits it, it perks down in, but then you see it just blow out, and that's what's gonna happen here. Walk up here real quick and see how bad Tom Hanks screwed up the frickin' road.